my name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and we're continuing with Saturnastra. This is chapter 5. Rudeness. How rude. Year 3, month 5, day 17, 15:31 p.m. Oh, in Saturnastra the days have 30 hours, by the way. True to her word, Undine and her companions fetched his call of a recently deceased dragon, and though put her find, there was still enough skin to be convincing, and Iago was mighty pleased with the find indeed. And indeed, his eyes and putrid-colored matched the exaggerated descriptions of the dragon which had attacked them, and it was roughly 3 times larger than Flaminca. And the villagers paraded the head for weeks until the smell became intolerable, and Undine and her companion did kill the dragon head and left the bones bare for display purposes. And Iago apparently planned to use the money that Undine had returned to build himself a true mansion. And its construction was well on its way when Undine graced him with an unexpected visit. At the time, Iago inhabited the few complete rooms of his new mansion, and the first floor he had built was his study better than a library. And his family still lived in his own home, and he was currently inside the library, and since his grandfather gave him his first book, he dreamed of owning a library, and the library he built was 2 stories high, and the room was furnished with cushioned chairs and a large sofa across the fire. And near the fireplace he had a work desk and a throne-like chair made of velvet, and the bookshelves covered most of the walls, and the windows were large to allow light to enter, the morning light to enter, and for strength he had the windows made of leaden iron bars like glass stained windows, and the library was the most solid room in the entire mansion. And the bookshelves were all fully stacked of books of any subject. And most of the light came from the fireplace, which provided heat and light for the entire room, and the fireplace had mirrors which intensified the heat and light, and on the roof there hung 3 tear glass chandeliers, and the droplets glistened beautifully when bathed by the gentle flame emitted by the candles. And these chandeliers were a novelty for Scarborough Fair, which had visited Beragam a few months back, and they had become quite commonplace in the city. And the candle flames were magical, and one only needed to touch a room pattern on the wall to light the metal candles, and to keep fueling the fire one needed to add oil to an urn which had the same runes as the one in the wall. And while Iago was reading, he heard a gentle knock by the door, and a weak rain started pouring, and something about the strange air of the night they reminded him of the time when Flaminca attacked, and cautiously he made his way towards the door, and this time he knocked on the door became firmer and more insistent, and the doorknob began to rattle as if somebody was trying to get within. And just when he started to reach for the doorknob, the door opened with such strength that it knocked Iago back a pace. He saw Undine went from head to toe, and apparently she had kicked the door down, seeing as though Iago was not feeling like opening them. And indeed she had seen a light inside the study. In anger she said, "How rude, leaving a lady outside in the rain." "I'm sorry, I thought you were," and Iago stopped mid-sentence when he realized the foolishness of his thought. Indeed, he was the only person in the village who lived in dread of another dragon attack. Undine laughed heartily when she heard him, and her laughter was echoed by somebody within the room. And since Undine was focused on Iago, she did not know that she had an echo, and taking off her traveling coat, boots, and hat, she made her way towards the fire. And shivering, she barked, "Go take care of Fiero, and I don't want my poor horse to catch a cold." And so reluctantly Iago put on his coat, and he went outside the rain, and barely able to see anything, Iago petted the horse in search of a non-existent reins and saddle. And in the darkness he heard a voice, "Are you done filling me up?" And Iago looked around before searching for the sound of the voice, and again the voice said, "Lead me to the stables quickly before I..." And when Fiero sneezed, Iago realized that the horse was talking to him. And too cold to care or even ask, Iago led Fiero to his family's stable, and he dried the horse with a blanket as best he could. And he also laid some fresh pasture for Fiero to eat. And Fiero, ignoring the meal, he ordered, "Give me like 50 blankets or something, I'm freezing to death." And Iago obeyed Fiero and laid on top of him all the blankets he could find, and when the horse felt comfortable, he lay down to sleep. And indeed Undine and Fiero were cut from the same cloth, and after settling Fiero, Iago made his way back to his incomplete mansion. While he walked, he noticed a strange bird flying over the puddles of water, and because of the rain, he was not able to see that the bird was actually the pudgy dragon. And much to his annoyance, it started raining the second he got inside his foot through the door to the study. It seemed to him that the sky was only raining for just to annoy him. And sighing wet from head to toe, he went within, and once inside he saw Undine attacking his tea, biscuits, and cake. And she sat in the rug before the fireplace, surrounded by his snacks. And again he sat and got a change of clothing from his study, and he always kept extra clothing in bed there, just in case it started raining. His niece was changing his attire, and he saw he was catching a cold, and while Undine ate, she became aware of a pair of red eyes looking at her. And Undine, pretending not to notice, she left one of the biscuits unattended, and she saw from the corner of her eye a small hand cautiously reaching for it. And Undine heard Iago's footsteps, and she turned around to greet him. "Hello, Iago, I see you're doing well for yourself," she said, smiling, and she was pleased to see that her biscuit had been stolen. "That's none of your business," shouted Iago. "You're right, and what you do with the money you embezzled is your business. Then again, had you returned the money, they might have suspected that we did not kill the dragon. And if you think about it, you acted wisely, and try not to spend it all like your foolish brother, and at the rate they're going, in less than a year," continued Undine, sipping her warm tea. "What do you want?" said Iago, too tired for pleasantries. "How rude," snapped Undine, and giving her most seductive smile, she said, "You're lucky you're cute. I kill men for less." And Iago stiffened when he saw Undine's changing mood, and he had enough common sense to distrust Undine's flirtation, and again he asked, "What do you want?" Frowning, she said, "Have it your way." "By the gods, just tell me what you want already," said Iago, exasperated. Gee, you don't have to bite my head up. I swear you must have berserker blood flowing through your veins if you can't handle a little bit of teasing. Anyhow, I came to educate the pharaoh child. I took a leave of absence from my duty," she said, smiling proudly, and she had full confidence in her skills as a teacher. And a nagging sob was banging in the back of her head. Still, she thought she had yet to flourish, and she only hoped. And Iago started laughing when he heard this, and looking at the corner in the room, he said, "You educate a he? What nonsense! A he?" asked Undine, making a weird face. And she thought it was the most stupid name she had ever heard. She then said, "Oh, you mean a he, like the sauce. Why do you name the pharaoh brat a he?" "That I did not name the child. That is what he calls himself," explained Iago, sitting down near the fire. "So he talks," said Undine, more to herself than Iago. "Really, most of the time he speaks and acts like a big baby, and when he does talk, he almost sounds like a different person. I think he's insane," commented Iago. Regression. I have seen it happen more than a few fellows, and sometimes bad things happen to someone, and the person regresses to the childhood state. And it happened to one of Bersame's wives, Librana, a real mess of a woman," said Undine, looking into the flames, and she was lost in her remembrance. "What happened to her?" asked Iago with curiosity. "The usual. Her family wanted to get big with a big man, so she was married off at the age of 16, and you see, Bessemer only likes certain kinds of women who look a certain kind of way for a certain amount of time, and he usually loses interest in them when they stop looking like his long-lost love. So like Librana liked the idea of marrying Bessemer until she met the man in the flesh, and after the first night together, she went completely bonkers. And she's 56 now, but still the Mad Queen of Erageron. Something about her name," explained Undine. "Ah, yes, the Mad Queen. I met the lady myself. Quite the eccentric character. I hear she calls him Blood Red," commented Iago. "Ah, yes, she's a real watcher, and Bersamer can be the Blood Red. Blood Red is a pure distraction. Sure, Bersamer kills, but only to bring order to this godforsaken world. And you may complain now, but things were a million times worse 200 years ago," said Undine, putting her tea aside to rest her head on her knees. "So I have been told," said Iago, disinterested. He had no concern for past legends. A laughter in the dark interrupted the conversation, and it was followed by the sound of books tumbling over, and Undine rose to inspect the corner of the room. And there she saw he and another girl, and they were stacking the fallen books one on top of the other. The girl beside her, he was 3 years his senior, and unlike him, she was dressed in rags, and her face was muddy, and her blonde hair a ball of yarn, and her slender flame had many cuts and bruises and bite marks, and most of her injuries were self-inflicted, and her most striking feature were her stunning green eyes. And she would have been beautiful if only she took care of herself, and Iago frowned when she saw Undine looking at the girl. And in answer to Undine's stare, he said, "Eleanor, she's a bird brain, and my sister has all but given up on the poor girl. And still not limits herself to just feeding that thing twice a day and bathing her once a week when she manages to catch her." And covering her nose, Undine said, "I was wondering about that foul smell." And he's not like Eleanor, and he has enough common sense to take care of his hygiene, and his teeth are always sparkling white, and his rose immaculate. You can't say he learned such habits from a dragon, can you? Though Flaminga has started to apishly imitate his libation. It is quite hilarious, truly, said Iago, remembering. Interesting, said Undine, disinterested. And she got up and sat in front of the two children to wash again, and she really covered her nose because of the inhumane smell emanating from Eleanor. Can you fix Ahi, and will you also fix Eleanor if I pay you? Asked Iago. Sure, why not? I have experience with these cretins, and it's going to be painful, but I will whip those kids into shape, said Undine, smiling sinisterly. Though what you must, just try not to scar the girl beneath all that soot, and as your life's a pretty little girl, commented Iago, looking at Eleanor. Relax, I'm a professional, said Undine, flexing her muscle. And she gave her most irresistible seductive smile, and the smile she used on her latest victims. And when the children felt alluded to, they gave Undine their undivided attention, and they both seemed too happy to be having the attention of such a pretty lady. Eleanor felt especially happy looking at Undine. Eleanor adored Undine's flaming red hair, and when her dirty hand reached for it, she was shocked by the pain, and she would have started crying, but instead she flinched when Eleanor raised her hand again for a second slap, and Undine did not need to strike the child a second time. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun, said Undine, reaching into her pocket and getting out a cookie. And she gave the cookie to Eleanor, who devoured it quickly to forget the pain, and in essence Undine was initiating her vicious carrot and stick education, and she would be the source of both pain and pleasure for her charges, and reinforcing behavior she liked with sweets and discouraging negative behavior with pain. Yes, pain and pleasure was something which all beings, regardless of their intelligence, understood. She then said to Ahi, speak. Ah, said Ahi in his usual baby dog, and said how he was a special case. Instead of a slap, she balled her hand into a fist, striking the child in the mouth, and red blood flowed from his mouth, and an eerie silence followed as Ahi stood straight up, and even Undine had to admit that his posture was unnerving, and he had the air of someone with immense power. Ahi lowered his hood to get a better look at Undine, and his eyes had a strange glow akin to blood red. And for all her training, Undine was unprepared for what occurred next, and she was shocked by his shrill laughter. He had the laughter of a madman, and indeed he found the situation hilarious, and Undine did not understand why he was laughing at her after getting struck. Regardless, she was infected by his boisterous laughter, and Undine saw while he laughed his perfect, razor-sharp teeth, and the sight of those white teeth covered in blood deeply unnerved Undine, and she realized that he would prove more trouble than he was worth. Alright, so that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye and God bless.